Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Sylvester Stallone, box office champion of the world. This man, to me personally, maybe not to you, is an absolute legend. 73 years old. He's just finished making the final Rambo movie ever. But with Sly, it's never the final movie ever. This movie is called Last Blood. And that reminds me of First Blood, the very first Rambo movie he made. Wow. The commentary in that film. But we need to, if we're going to talk about Sylvester Stallone, of course, we have to go to the very first Rocky movie. And the very first Rocky movie is, of course, what got him to where he is today. He literally had done a couple of movies. I think he'd even done a porn movie. He wasn't getting anywhere. It was really difficult for him because of the way he spoke and the way he looked and the way his lips kind of moved to the side when he spoke. Very, very difficult for him. But he never gave up. So he wrote the screenplay for Rocky, and I think he took it into various studios, and they all said, listen, we love the screenplay, we love the idea, but you're not playing this character. We know we're going to get a superstar, we're going to get someone who looks the way we want to look. He goes, well, if you're not going to use me, you can't have the script. And eventually, I think he got, United Artists? And he met Robert Chartoff and Irwin Winkler. And of course, these were two really experienced guys in the industry. And he said, listen, I've been through all this before, but this is kind of last chance saloons. I want you to make my film. I want to choose who directs it, and I want to be in it. And they just kind of said, okay. And he kind of just was so shocked because he was fighting for this. This was his dream. He finally was able to be in his own movie. This was a big opportunity. United Artists, MGM, this was massive. So he chose John G. Avildsen to direct the movie. And of course, John had great choreography skills, a really great director. And together they would work out a system how you would show boxing. And of course, Sylvester Stallone has a recipe that nobody else knows. And in fact, he won't even, it's like the Coca-Cola recipe. He won't tell people how he shoots fight scenes. So that was his first movie, and it erupted. It was a box office hit. Rocky, if you don't know who the character is an amateur boxer from Philadelphia. A fictional character, of course, that Sylvester Stallone plays. He's a bum. Nobody believes in him. This guy called Mickey, played by the late, great Burgess Meredith, runs a gym. But he thinks he's a bum. He thinks he gave up on himself. He doesn't believe in him. And there's this great scene when he asks himself, why do you hate me, or whatever he says? And he goes, you had it. You could have had it all. And he goes, you threw it away. And everything. So they have this big argument. So then he starts training him. And then what happens is, what's great about this film, we meet this Apollo. We meet this kind of Tyson Fury character, if you like, who's a champion. He keeps on winning the championship. It's getting boring. So Apollo wants to create a big event for his next defense of his heavyweight championship. So he thinks, why don't we give a nobody boxer, the opportunity of a lifetime? Now, of course, Apollo thinks that this is going to be easy. It's some bum going to beat him up, and it looks like I'm giving someone a chance. So he likes the name the Italian Stallion, which of course is Rocky's nickname. The Italian Stallion, yeah, that's got a good ring to it. So Carl Weathers plays this character so well, great casting by Sly as well, and he's really arrogant by now because he thinks nothing can touch him, nothing can destroy his life. So when you get to the boxing match, Apollo still thinks, hey, Rock, yeah, I'm giving you a great opportunity. Thank you, Apollo. This is a great opportunity. Rocky's really, really... Of course, a lot happens in this film as well. He meets his sweetheart, Adrian. They get together. It's really charming. Even that element of the film is really charming. So when you get to the boxing match, it goes the distance, and nobody believes it. Rocky's still standing. And this is what Sylvester Stallone did at his peak. He wrote characters that were the underdogs, who had no fucking chance of winning. but somehow they stayed the distance. And for me, and excuse me for getting emotional, this meant the world. Meant the world. I was a young boy, I was being bullied, no one really believed in me. To see this writer, director, actor creating characters that went the distance, even his over-the-top character with the arm wrestling, it wasn't a very successful film, but again, it was about the underdog. I love that film, by the way. Not many people do. But anyway, going back to Rocky, he creates this underdog that through sheer will and determination, because he's grown up in a shithole, right? Sorry for anyone who lives in Philadelphia, right? He's had nothing his whole life. His family life was shit, right? And they introduce us to Paulie, who is Adrian's brother, who is obviously the love interest of Rocky. And he's a bum, he's an asshole, but Rocky believes in him and he always keeps him around. And that's another, the whole thing is very realistic. It's like you're watching, imagine EastEnders when it was good, right? And you've got this Rocky story in it, right? That's a good idea for EastEnders. Anyway, right? Let's not talk about that. Let's not lower the tone, right? But yeah, so it's about someone who has nothing, but with hunger and desire. And that's the only way you succeed in life. We see it through successful YouTubers, actors, writers. Every time you're knocked down in this industry, because Sylvester Stallone making it in this film parallels the story of Rocky. And this is why I love it. I love it. He becomes a success in Rocky as a character through the sheer determination and never say die attitude, even though nobody believes him. Even the guy who's giving him the opportunity thinks he's a joke, and he shows him. Basically, he destroys Apollo's reputation. So then when you get to Rocky 2, Apollo's sunk. He's so angry at Rocky. And he wants a rematch. And Rocky refuses because Adrian doesn't want him to fight. You know, he could go blind. You know, the realism of Rocky was great because Rocky wasn't this tin soldier who could take punches. There was always consequences after each match. And I fucking loved that. You know, so you had Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5. And then you had Rocky Balboa, which is the final story. But now Sly, at 73, is saying he's got a great idea for another Rocky movie. How awesome is that? What an amazing man. So you've got Rocky, you've got Rambo, about an ex-Vietnam vet. The first movie was so special. We should talk about this, seeing that Last Blood is coming very soon, this very year. I don't believe a man like Sly Stallone would ever have made it now. Not now. Not the way it is. It's about names. It's really about blockbusters. It's not about giving people an opportunity. And no one wanted to give Sly an opportunity. And it was only through his own relentlessness that Sly made it. An amazing man. And of course, Sly lost his own son, Sage. So he's gone through a lot personally as well. I'm not saying Sly Stallone's the perfect human being. I'm sure he has flaws. But as an artist, as a creator, as a relentless man who's never said die. What about The Expendables? What about Tango and Cash? What about Cobra? They only made one Cobra. Why didn't he do more? Crime's a disease, and I'm the cure. Fucking brilliant. It was just a great era. And you know, Stallone was the reason that Schwarzenegger was allowed to make it, that Van Damme came in. But Stallone was the Don. Because even though I like those guys, not because they can act, but it was just about the strong man, wasn't it? But Stallone was more than a strong man. Yeah, he works out. Yes, he looks great. But I don't care what any of you say. Sylvester Stallone can act the shit out of anything. And let me tell you what Sly can do. He can make you believe in him, care about him, cry for him. When somebody hurts him, when somebody hurts Rocky, it hurts you. He was just like your mate down the road that you just wanted to believe in. Not a bad guy, an ordinary guy, not a perfect guy. He has flaws, but he's brilliant. I mean, I think my favourite Rocky film is still Rocky 4. I think Rocky 4 is brilliant. Rocky 4 gets a lot of criticism because it's very short, very sweet, a lot of music, training montages, and it's done. But this is a brilliant film because, of course, they kill off Apollo. And that's devastating and compelling. Now, apparently, Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone fell out. I think they may have made up now. I don't know. But I'll tell you something. Even the latest, Creed 2, where he was smart enough to bring Dolph Lundgren back as Ivan Drago. I criticised the film for not doing enough with those two. I think they could have done more. I know it's Creed's story, but fuck it. Who gives a fuck about Creed anyway? Let's be honest. We're there because Sly's there, because he was Rocky, and this is part of the... And he's stepping away from Creed. He's going to allow those films to continue, but he wants to do another Rocky film. I actually said ages ago he should implement a Rocky TV show where it's kind of a prequel from when Rocky's really young, growing up on the streets of Philadelphia. That would be really interesting to me. He could write it. He could direct several episodes. That would be interesting to me and very, very relevant, I think, in this day and age as well. And because he's a character growing up in poverty as well. And so much poverty out there right now. The rich get richer, the poorer get poorer. My final thoughts on Sylvester Stallone are the man's a legend, an icon. Because even now, he doesn't give up. He's still doing it. Last Blood. I can't wait. There's millions and millions of Sylvester Stallone fans. He's kept his fans throughout the years. I now follow him on Instagram. He's got a young family. I think he's remarried. I'm not sure. He's got a couple of daughters. I think they're his daughters anyway, right? Or they might be from another man. I don't know. I don't know the history. But it's great to see him on Instagram so happy. I just saw him now on Instagram playing with some animals outside his house. So he's a relentless human being. But don't ever tell me that Sylvester Stallone can't act, he can't direct, he can't write. Go and watch all the Rockies. That's proof. But then to create The Expendables, Rambo, the creative process, the things he's given this industry are brilliant. No, it's not War and Peace. He's not Christopher Nolan. He's you and he's me walking into Hollywood and saying, I've got an idea. I want to play this character. And if you don't let me play this character, you can't have this body of work. And even though I think it would be impossible for anyone to make it like that now, it was even impossible then. But he did it. A man like him did it. Which means if you're a woman out there, a man, a boy or a girl, and you have aspirations about making it in Hollywood, don't be put off what I've just said. You go there. You write your body of work and you be passionate and you say, this is my body of work and I'm going to play this character. And if I can't play this character, you can't have the piece of work. Now, finally, before I go, I just want to pick my favourite Sylvester Stallone film of all time. Now, I haven't got one in my mind. I wish this was a live video so you lot could feed me with some ideas. So we've got all the Rockies. We've got all the Rambos. We've got Tango and Cash. I mean, I'm tempted to pick Tango and Cash. That's such a great film, isn't it? Obviously, there's that rubbish. I mean, the worst Sylvester Stallone one was the one with Sharon Stone. It was so rubbish, I can't remember what it's called. Terrible. But then there's Assassins. I really like Assassins as well. That Sly being a bit... That wasn't a typical Sly Stallone film. Antonio Banderas. You know, how awesome was that film as well? Not the best Sly Stallone film. So, what am I going to say? I'm actually going to... I don't know. Rocky 4? I think we're going to go either Rocky 4, Tango and Cash, or Rambo First Blood. And I think because of the commentary, because of what that film meant for a lot of people as well, suffering what Rambo suffered in that film, I'm going to go for Rambo First Blood. Rambo First Blood is my favourite Sylvester Stallone film of all time. I'm sure I've missed some of his other films. He's done so many. But I think that Tango and Cash is a guilty pleasure. It may not be the greatest film ever, but him and Kurt Russell are great together. It's very exciting. It's very buddy-buddy. There's even Jack Palance is in it. I mean, got some great actors in it. Terry Hatcher's in it as his sister as well. A really, really good movie. But Sylvester Stallone's body of work is something to be proud of. I know that you, his fans, and me, his fan, are very proud of it. And you know what? At 73 years old, who knows how long he's got? Maybe he's got another 10. Maybe he's going to be another Clint Eastwood and just go on and on and on. I hope so, because the greats should go on. And undoubtedly, Sylvester Stallone is a great.